He's gonna learn how to move some gravel today with a little Yanmar that we got up here. And he's going slow as can be because that's how we do it. For right now, I can always do things quicker if I just do them myself, but then my boys wouldn't learn anything, so. All right. Give me a little dump. Now don't dump it all, just give me a little dump. Pick it up. Welcome to A Simple Life, and as I stated at the beginning of this video, yeah, I could totally do this stuff faster, probably more efficiently, but I would miss out on the opportunity of building memories with the boys. And you know, that's really what a lot of this is about. Any of these projects that we do, there's a lot of ways to do them that is a lot more efficient, a lot faster. Sometimes I do take the more efficient way, but oftentimes I don't because I have the boys with me. You'll hear them ask a lot of questions, and oftentimes they're not bad questions. They're actually really good questions. Sometimes it takes me a minute, and oftentimes if I don't have the bandwidth for it, I'll tell them, be like, hey, listen, I can't do 10,000 questions right now. You're gonna have to come back to me with that question later on. For me, it's you know, questions that I don't even ponder. A lot of times it's definitions of words that we use on a daily basis that they're actually processing and understanding that they don't know what it means, but they're trying to figure out how to fit it in their vocabulary, fit it into how they communicate. Just like I'm teaching them all these skills that hopefully will help them get jobs done in the future. And that same idea of fitting a skill into how to get work done is the same as fitting a word into your vocabulary to help you communicate better. So these projects are not always done in the quickest speed. A lot of times I wait for the boys to be done with homework, for chores, whatever it is, before I even head up to Herman's to get work done, because they want to come. And I know for them, that time spent with me is more important than the work I get done without them. So today we're going to be working on the cooler. We're going to be getting a bunch of gravel laid down, and we're going to start laying down some other material, some glass, some chicken wire, and then the insulation on top of that. Then we're going to bend some rebar and get the rebar installed into the current cinder block walls, so that way when we pour our floor, the floor will be tight into the walls, and it'll help pull it all together and keep from getting any more cracks like we've gotten in the one wall. But that's settled over 65 years, so I'm not too worried. The amazing part about this specific build is I get to show the boys how to be resourceful. It's something that nowadays, you know, so often times we're able to just go buy something new. You know, we need a saw. We go to Home Depot, we buy a brand new saw. That saw may only get used 10 times, but we have a saw now. The same thing's true with, you know, iPhones and everything else. We are so quick to just go spend money on something instead of being resourceful. It's a really odd thing, and I think it's the first time in history where that's kind of how we all just work. We all just spend money on brand new products. I remember as a kid, you know, we would scrounge to build forts. There was, like, you know, Dad didn't build a fort for us. No, we went to the local grocery store and we waited for him to put the pallets out back, and then we grabbed a grocery cart and we put a pallet on the grocery cart. We brought it home. We put it behind, you know, or on the side of the house where Mom wouldn't see it, because, you know, she would want to know where we got the pallet. And then we'd wait, and the next day they'd put another pallet out there. And I don't know if we were supposed to take the pallets. Maybe it was stealing. I don't know. I'm going to put it down to we all had a little bit of Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer in us back then, and we just helped ourselves to whatever was around. At the end of the day, that's how we built forts. A great real-life example of this is Herman. You know, the boys get to see the way that Herman has farmed and lived off his land for the last 65 years. And obviously they don't see all of it because the boys are only 8 and 9. As well as myself, I get to observe this. But it's the stories. It's the fact that Herman talks about the not going to the store, you know, and how he grew his vegetables and he, you know, hunted off the land around him. And they had cows and he had goats and they had pigs and they had chickens. And everything he did was pretty much off the land around him. Matter of fact, he would talk about how he didn't understand why people would go to the store when you could just raise the food yourself. One of the things that saddens him is he's older and he's 91 and he has a really hard time getting out there and really gardening and really getting his garden the way that it used to be. But it's really interesting hearing the stories from Herman. Herman has this history of how he lived, and I'm sure at the time, in the moment, it probably wasn't as romantic as, you know, we make it out to be nowadays. But at the same time, he got things done with what he had at the time. He says, "You should get a harness for your horses so they can pull a plow." And I go, "Herman, but I have a tractor." "But you have horses. You should pull a plow with them." And Colette thinks it's hysterical, but she also, I think, is slightly apprehensive of the fact that I actually might try to pull a plow with her horses, which I'm not going to. It's that mentality that he has that a horse can pull a plow, so why wouldn't you pull a plow with your horse? It's kind of different. It's not something that a lot of us would even consider. I wouldn't consider using the horses to pull a plow, just like I wouldn't consider trying to till the ground by hand, because if I want to till the ground, I have a tractor or I have a tiller. He looks at it like, well, if you're going to feed the horse, well, make him till the ground for you. It's just such a different mentality, and that mentality of just use what you have to get it done is something that I'm trying to get the boys to grab hold of. And it's not about being cheap. It's not about not having the ability to buy a newfangled thing. It's more of, I want them to understand that they don't need to spend money to get what they need done. Sometimes what you have around you is just all you need.
All right, let me turn these on. With these, I always just crack the acetylene, the oxygen. I usually give a 3/4 of a turn. The reason for cracking the acetylene is if there's anything wrong, you want to be able to shut it down very, very quickly. And so I always just crack it. It's just a good habit. So if you don't know about cutting with oxygen and acetylene, then, okay, what you want is you want just enough gas so that see that black soot, okay? See that black soot? You want that to go away. You want it to just barely be there, just like that. Now, I'm not a professional at this, so I'm sure there'll be somebody else out there that says, oh, you're doing it wrong. And I very well possibly could be. Looks good to me. And while it's nice and hot, I'll bend it and then I'll cut it off, and that'll make it so that way I don't have to shove this in a pipe or something to bend it.
Dad, so can you get different tops for that? Like,
yeah, you can get different nozzles for cutting different material or different thicknesses of material, as well as for welding. You can weld with oxy and acetylene as well.
do you have different tips?
I do have the different tip. Alright, there's my L. And then I'm going to go down a little farther and I'm going to bend one more L. And the reason for that is because it's going to be really hot right here. And so I don't want to have to grab that and try to bend that again. And I already got some leverage built up, so I'll just heat this up and bend this. And for this, for what I'm doing right now, you don't need a mask. But for cutting you do, so, or not a match, you just need goggles so you can see, because this gets really super hot and it's really hard to see when it's bright red. All right.
So it looks like a square almost.
Yep, it's gonna look like a letter U for a second, and then I'm gonna cut it right now.
Oh, so you just made 2 L's.
Yeah.
Boom, an L. Right there, why doesn't it do that while you're trying to heat it up?
Because I'm not blowing oxygen through it. So when I hit this, hear that hiss? Ready? That's me blowing oxygen. So when the metal gets hot enough to get molten, and you blow oxygen through it, it just blows the metal out. That's what's going on.
Just say something.
Let's see if it'll even go in the hole.
I hope it does.
Nope. Oh, we don't want to do that. It'll melt our foam. I probably need a 3/4 inch bit, but I don't have one. So we're just gonna make do with what we got and see if this will work. So that goes in. Let's see. This may be, I was just thinking about it. 2 things may happen here. Is these may be too long, or that might be too tight of a bend. So we might have been too efficient with our bend here, and these may just be too tight. That very well might bite us in the butt, because yeah. So let me see if this will actually even. Oh, yeah. There's no way in HE double hockey sticks this is going to go in. So I need to take this down to like that long. That's why you test them out before you make them all. All right. So we're going to try about a 2.5 inch piece. See how that works. Yes. Cut your oxygen first, and then your acetylene.
Wait, what if you cut them in the wrong order?
It goes pop, real loud.
Enough to make your ears sting?
No, but it's just dangerous. You don't want to do it. Okay. So once again, we're still having the same issue that we were having, where this is too sharp of an angle. So let's go take another stab at it. We'll figure this out. There you go. See, that's a much more generous curve right there. Let's go try that. Okay.
Is that
There you
good?
go. That one works. See, that's what we want. So we want it to go in, okay, just like that. Perfect, we got 1 down. So now we just need 10 more.
9 more?
Oh, 9 more, yeah. All right, well, we are done for the night.
Yeah, done for tonight. Yeah.
Yep, and we're gonna go home and get some dinner. Well, I think the boys already had some dinner. I'm sure they'll get some more. Merle had his dinner. I'm gonna get my dinner. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.